Boom, we're live, or something like it. At least I hope we're live. This is Tio and the Arcane Bear. Oh, it is a beautiful Sunday morning. These are our live Sunday mornings. I'm pretty excited about this. This is going to be a different version than normal. I'm not sure even how long we're going to end up online today. Obviously, barring praying to the internet gods that everything is going to go smoothly. I want to try something out here that we did 2 years ago. Go through this whole so hopefully we are still live. I'm gonna have to double check that by going to the live stream health. Everything looks like it's okay. Please bear with me, guys. But basically, anyways, what I want to do today is go over a little bit of some live trading to some degree. I don't actually want any, none of this is financial advice. Please don't make any of these trades. But what I want to do is show some of the sharper, faster indicators that I use if I'm looking to do like a quick little day trade. Now, first off, I don't suggest anybody ever do day trading. It's probably the most, it's very taxing on your personal time and emotions. If I decide to make a trade, I'm by the computer all day, which means I'm usually at the house. So if I'm cooking, I bring the iPad with me so I can watch my trades, because you're generally watching the few minute accounts. So what I want to do is, I think everything's running smoothly. Before I actually dive in, I want to make sure that everything's running smoothly. So if you guys can give us those thumbs up. I see a few of you guys are leaving comments. That's helpful as well. But basically what we can do from there is, if you guys leave me those thoughts and comments, I can dive in. So what I want to do is, I'm actually been watching Engine for some day trades, Raven and Flow. Those are the ones that I've been watching for quick little swing trades. And I'm going to lead you into how I do that, why I do it. Really sorry, it's just the internet doesn't seem to be going smoothly. I do hope that everything is going well on the stream. Again, if you guys can leave me some thoughts and some comments, that will help out. I'm going to try to leave my trading screen open. Nice. Okay. Well, hopefully that's all going smoothly. Again, I'm having a little bit of internet troubles apparently. So please, you guys, if you can, let me know that everything's going smoothly. Essentially, we'll dive in from there. A few of you guys, nice, you guys are leaving comments. He says, great rant yesterday. Hope everyone is well. Someone asked, when do we hit your $1,200 Bitcoin? I really am depressed that people suck in listening so much. It makes me worried for the general person. I actually worry for people that can't listen that well. We never said that Bitcoin was absolutely going to $1,200. And I very clearly stated yesterday what my role and my intent was. I took a 33%. Say here, this is how I explained it. I said, let's say you have $10,000 and you want to put $10,000 to Bitcoin. My goal was to essentially put anywhere between $3,200 to $4,200, the first $3,333.33, and then again between $2,500 and $2,800, again $1,200 to $1,600. Now for me, that's called strategy, and that's not being wrong. So let's make this very clear. I follow a strategy, I execute it, and I don't care. The fact that there's an extra 30 in Bitcoin outside, I'm not necessarily sure. I can funnel funds into assets all left, right, and center. The problem is most of you are trying to make your millions by getting into Bitcoin early, and you'll probably lose everything you make, because that's why I had such a long-winded rant yesterday about wealth management, or more specifically about your own personal time and how you manage that. Anyways, things are going smoothly. It looks like I've got a green bar here. I've had a green bar for a few minutes. Maybe a few hours. So the first thing I do when I'm doing this, and I don't suggest anyone does this, is I look what's Bitcoin doing. And now once you get used to the asset that you're following, you get used to the fact that if Bitcoin goes up, the others might go down. Where sometimes with Litecoin, when Bitcoin goes up, Litecoin's not too far that behind it. And when Bitcoin goes down, again, Litecoin isn't too far behind it. Whereas in certain tokens like Raven, Engine, and Flow, you have a more easily manageable reverse correlation. So that means every time Bitcoin goes up, I can expect that Engine will go down a little bit. And then as soon as Bitcoin does its retrace, we can see these big moves in something like Engine or Raven. So for instance, let's go back. Once I've looked at Bitcoin, I see that it's in somewhat of a downtrend. We're testing major areas of support. Let's actually stop view casting. Actually, this could be part of the problem why it's going a little slowly sometimes. I'm trying to cast to multiple internet streams at the same time. Okay, so for here, now that we see Bitcoin's right around the consolidation area, I can suspect that for the next few hours we're going to be heading not up, but we're probably going to test the $7,222 area. And again, more specifically, we're going to test the 7,146. So what I see here is that there's a little bit of stability for me to try to make this trade. If Bitcoin's on its run, I don't do anything. I just wait till Bitcoin's done. There's no sense in picking up pennies in front of a steamroller. But when Bitcoin finds these short areas of consolidation, and when I mean short, I mean a few hours here. This is 4 hours, right? So these are all 4 to 6 hour trades at most that I enter and exit into. If they turn south, I cut losses as quickly as I possibly can, and then we go from there. So let's make sure I'm still sharing my screen. Great. So I'm going to take a look at Engine now, and I'm going to start to share some of the details of why I entered a long position this morning at around 1190. Okay. Here we go. Yeah, there we go. Here's the 1 minute. So first off, I usually start off on the 1 minute, and then I scroll in and out from there. So I want to make sure everyone's doing well. Okay. Okay, cool. So this is going to be a long stream today. It may even be a few hours as long as the internet and the electricity hold up. It's raining here. I've got coffee ready to go. Heck, I might even have a Sunday morning smoke with you. It depends how everyone's doing. So again, this is going to be a long stream. So for anyone that's just chilling on Sunday morning, the reason I'm doing this is because I want to share some of the specifics. So this morning I entered a position for Engine at around 6 a.m. at around 11.99 right here. Boom, we wrote it up, we caught some of the top up to around 2100, and then we took a profit. Now the reason we took that profit was because, well, first off, I knew I wanted to re-enter the position for today, and I wanted to go through this process because a lot of it is learning to be unemotional. Now, first off, if we go to the daily, it's easy to see that Engine is in a very, very strong downtrend. This is not a token you want to hodl right now. I don't suggest you even look at it in terms of, oh, I'm going to buy this and wait a few months. No, that's not a great idea. But what I do see here on the daily is some very important indicators that I quite like. First off, we have a bottom here of around 1784 on the 200 moving average. Bam. And we didn't hit it, but we bounced up quite quickly. So the reason we bounced up quite quickly, on the right-hand side here, you see the volume profile is actually quite thick. It's thicker in this area. So this is why what we would use to when we were looking at Bitcoin. See this first area of margin support? It started at 1938 and it goes all the way up to 2500. So I actually suspect we're going to see a quick bounce to 2500 here and to the top of the super guppy. Now the downside is we can very likely go to the 200 moving average, which is around 1700. So the first thing I do is I kind of assess my risk in my potential position. So at the 200 moving average to where we were today at 1990, that's a 10% drop. So there is the potential that it will drop 10% very quickly to go to hit this 200 exponential moving average. So we know that there's a negative 10% possibility. So I start to move in my time frames from there. On the 2 hour, which we're currently looking at now, you can see we're well below. Actually, let's give a little bit more data here. And it looks better on the 1 hour. So here we are in the 2 hour. See, back in the 8th of April to the 10th, we have this nice little bounce around this volume support of around 2900. This was, oh, that's not the button I want. This was approximately a 25% gain on a short-term swing trade. Let's see. On a short-term trade at approximately 7 days, it was a 25% gain, right? So the reason I like doing this is because it's quite an easy way for me to stack Satoshis in the background, whether Satoshis are going up in value or not. Okay, so Engine's actually starting to make its run while I'm shit talking here, kind of removing the purpose of why I want to show you all this. But basically what I do is I assess the risk, and this is why we'll spend hopefully a few hours together, if the stream is even still going. Okay, so everything seems to be going smoothly. Okay, cool. I just want to double check on the stream. I know it's been problematic. Okay, so here we have on the 1 hour, one of the reasons why I'm interested in it here. We had a really hard bounce for around another 20% gain. And that's really exciting. Again, the exponential moving averages here actually we entered small, but if it's done quickly, correctly, rating, I'm and close the trade. So if I go out to back, it becomes a little more clearly when you roll in. So the close is the super guppy RSI index divergence that set off this as we broke up a touch back down positions. This is for higher accounts only. Stream is only working at low, good at low. God damn it, fucking internet in the fucking jungle some days, hey? You just can't win. You want to live peacefully somewhere, grow your own food, and then the internet is just garbage. Okay, well, hopefully, you know what, maybe I'll lower the stream's output even a little bit more, because this is going to be a long stream and I don't want it to drop out. So I do apologize for the shitty quality of the video for anyone that's watching this later. This is really only designed to be a good, like, in the moment live stream. Okay, so here you can see a few of the indicators that I use on the 1 minute that allows me to decide if I'm going to continue this trade. So we actually see we could have actually seen the potential of the 1, 3, and 5 already. So using our Elliott wave count, we actually see a beautiful little 1, 3, and 5. And this was okay, so hopefully we are still streaming live. Again, if you guys can give me some insight as to what you're thinking. No interruptions, great. And I've lowered the quality of the stream too to make sure that we don't drop out, and that more important, the audio is good. So if you guys want, follow along, open up your TradingView accounts. What I'm doing is watching Engine. Now again, this is not meant to be traded, but and what I wanted to do is actually looking for that entry around the exponential moving average, which I missed because we were talking. But here you can see waves 1 broke below the moving average, this orange one here, and then once we broke above it, we tested, went up, and then tested again, went up, and then we came down, and we actually tried to test it again. Now, seeing as we're on the 1 minute, it's not always this is not always the best way to watch because it happens super fast, but I think we're going to see an A, a B, and then one more final C down this wave on the super guppy. Now, the super guppy may actually only test itself and not test the EMA. This is a critical part. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait about 5 minutes here. If this continues to break up, I'm going to, again, wait and then look for an entry closer to the EMA because I believe it's going to test it, although it looks like it's actually following that breakout already. So I did actually want to enter closer to the EMA, and already that's a 1.5% gain from the pump of the EMA. So again, never should you do this with an account that has low US dollar or Bitcoin holdings, because first off, it's expensive to trade. Right? You got to calculate in all your trading fees. You got to calculate in the fact that you're going to risk adjust for taking tops and bottoms. So if you're market selling, you're losing probably 1% on either side. So a 6% gain is really more like a 4% gain. And again, I mean, a 6% gain, if you have $10,000 in your account, that's $600 in 4 to 6 hours potentially, right? Everyone has to do your own thing. None of this is advice, not financial information, just some crazy long-haired kid in the jungle. Now, this is exciting for me for a few reasons. Engine has consistently showed these 25% bounces, and if we see even only a 4 to 6% gain while Bitcoin's going south, that's huge. So again, the point of what I'm trying to show here is that although I do love swing trading, and that's where we wait for like Raven to go right down near the bottom, and it can take 3 to 4 months for a trade to develop. Sometimes you can, if you're bored and you want to see a trade develop much more quickly, scroll in closer to the 1, 3, 5, and 15 minutes. Now again, the indicators here that I really like are this MACD strategy. It's giving you buy and sell signals to some degree. I don't actually follow those, I just like them. I'm also using another moving average convergence divergence strategy, which just gives me crossovers and volume. So right now we're headed up. We're just above to break the volume on the MACD, which means we're likely going to come back down. So what I do is I just stay patient, and during this patient time, I do suspect we're going to come back down and test the super guppy. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to give you guys all my face. I don't want to show you how much I'm entering into this trade because we've decided that wasn't a great idea. But anyways, I'm going to enter this trade and I'm going to enter it at 2040 and 2020. I'm going to put 2 buys there of approximately half of my like allocated daily trading position. So the first one goes in at 2040 at 50%. And then I hit buy, and then I wait. And then I enter the next one down around, let's say 2017. It might not even trigger, basically, is the downside to that at 2017. And then the rest of it goes in there at 2017. So once that's completed, I've set up the positions that I think it's going to accumulate by. Now, if it doesn't do that, I don't FOMO and race in. I basically just stay patient. So today we're going to end up on stream probably for a few hours. This might be a 2 to 4 hour stream. So the funny thing about Lollipop is he's an idiot. So we're just going to go like this. We're going to put you in a timeout. All users that come to the class and decide they want to be idiots, you get put in a timeout just like the rest of the adolescent children who don't know how to behave properly and play with others. It's only fair to the rest of the team that we do that. Now it's just a game of patience, right? Now this is why I actively suggest that you watch a trade like this. That's why we call it the Hawkeye, because you're like, it's not even all that enjoyable sometimes. So here's an important part, right? Say we don't go down to the 2040 area and we actually touch the super guppies mid-range here at 2045. There's another way to ladder in your positions here that's actually probably a little bit more effective. If I were to go 25% at the 2045 area instead, and then another 25% at the 2040 area, this kind of thing, you just get a clearer, I guess, a clearer buy and sell range of the areas that you're interested in playing in. Now, again, this is all risk adjusted to your particular needs. So here we are. See how we broke off the middle of the super guppy again? Right through this blue line is the middle of the indicator. Here you can see it on the left-hand side. This way, I'll put a little heart on it. Bam. That's that mid-range of the super guppy that we're looking at. So again, we just touched that mid-range of the super guppy and we started to move up. So here on our RSI, we're getting basically what's considered a sell signal. It just means that we're pointed down temporarily. Again, we are on the 1 minute chart, so this stuff changes very, very quickly. But you can also see it on your MACD here as well. So if you open up the MACD, you can see that we're headed over to converge and then diverge each other as well. So now it's just a game of patience. I wait to do my other let's hold on. I'm going to give you to make sure you have the screen. So here we can see the MACD is about to cross over. Here we can see on this one as well, it's actually already crossed over, turned down, and hit 2 sell signals at that top point. So that's why I've put garnered laddered entries. So again, my first laddered entry is at 2040. Followed by the second one down here at 2020. And if you want to do it 30, 30, and 30, I'd put another one down here at 2013. And then these are all risk adjusted, right? That way that other 30%, if it doesn't go, it doesn't hit, I can wait. This might be a 2 hour trade. We might end up sitting online here for the next hour or two. So if you guys have any questions, thoughts that you're interested in asking, go ahead and do that. My main concern is we don't want to show the trading account ever. So one of the things we've made sure to do is not to show the trading account. I'm going to see if Binance will let me open up a trading account that doesn't use KYC, and what we'll do is we'll funnel a little cash in there so we can do live trading and actually show you guys how we're setting up our limit stops and stuff like this, as a lot of you guys have asked as well. So let's go to YouTube for a second and just wait for this area to move through. Yeah, Jonathan Peters makes a great point here. If you're a good trader, you should listen to everyone. That's actually absolutely the point. The best way to learn anything is to aggregate as much data as possible and to use as many resources as you possibly can. And first off, don't listen to anybody. Everyone is a student, first off. There is no one who's like the guru, really. Everyone's a student. Everyone's always learning. And that's a really, really important point right now. So Bitcoin's down at 7,014. Again, the inverse of these is what I'm interested in. So there, we had the first buy trigger at 2045. We put a small 25% position there, another one at 2040, and then again down at 2020 and 2013. So now I just wait. I patiently wait. Now, first off, I might take losses in this live stream. We're going to have to wait and find out, right? I'm not necessarily sure. Well, I don't know what the trade's going to do. I just looked for a low entry point around 2026. And then I'm going to look for the extension up to 2020 or 2100 and possibly even higher. Again, the cloud's up at 2120 on the 1 minute, and then on the 15 and the 1 hour, it's actually quite a bit higher. Boom. So on the 1 hour, it could go as high as 2284. Now I don't suspect that. As you can see here, the moving averages, the blue is actually above the orange, which is a nice indicator, but really we want to follow much more closely. We want to see a close above 2141 for that to be the case, and then from there we'll go to 2193. So what I do is I'm just constantly zooming in and out of my position to see what happened. Okay, so we had one of our buys hit, the 2045 one. Oh, sorry, I just got to remember to always show you guys the screen. So here we go. I'll go back to the hourly. I'll show you what I'm looking at. So on the hourly, the super guppy is in red still. We've broken up through the middle orange band range, and we've closed above it. That's important too. It's important that we see that we're closing above, or at least in the middle of the 2040 range here, or this orange line here as it starts to fan out. Now twice, boom, we hit 2123, 2116, trying to break out of this super guppy hold. So now it's gone down to 2037, which means it's filled my second position. And again, like I said, this might be a loss of a trade, but this is how I do it. I know to cut losses quickly. So basically, again, I took my position, a good chunk of my position. I actually entered at 10, where is it, 1999, 1995, somewhere around this area, right on the second test of the super guppy. So there we go. It's triggered my first two small positions on the super guppy, and then the second one's down here at 2020. And then again 2004. So if we go back into the 1 minute, it becomes a little clearer. See, we've broken below the bottom of the super guppy. There's the first part. The second one we're looking for is down here around 2021, 2022 now. And you just keep consistently kind of rolling in and out of these charts until you find yourself in a position that's favorable. Now for me, on a position like this, favorable is only a few percent. Let's say from the bottom of the super guppy right now to the top of here, that's 3.9%. You minus a percent on either side, it's around 2 to 3%. If you're trading with, X amount of dollars in your account, that's however many times 2 to 4%. Now again, not for small trading accounts. Day trading for small accounts is a bad idea. Waiting for longer term swing trades is a hell of a lot smarter. It gives you a lot more room to play with, and you're less likely to fail. Right? Again, we saw that there's the potential for a 10% downside at least to hit that 1700 mark. So very clear that you don't want to. I don't walk away from positions like this ever. This is a watch all the time position. Okay, so I'll answer a few guys' questions as the charts kind of do their own thing here. I'm gonna just make sure that everything's going smoothly. Yes, okay, everything's going smoothly. So here we see. Okay, I'll give you guys my screen back, and then I'll come back to your guys' questions in a second. I want to watch this because it does change quite quickly on the 1 minute. So here you can see we're trying to stay inside the area of the super guppy, and this is great. This is great news, right? We have a lot of support on at least in the 1 minute. As we scroll out, that visible fixed range will change. We actually see that the majority of the downside is trying to bring us currently to 1977 again. So it's actually trying to bring us down to our original buy, especially as we scroll out. The more we scroll out, that actually changes. So it's always important to really give yourself as much data as possible by zooming in and out of your account. So again, this is kind of an iffy trade because I had already followed the one, entered at the top of the one wave at around 1900 and followed to the top of 5. So now I'm making a riskier trade, trying to come off the back of the end of that wave 5 and say, okay, well maybe that was a wave 1 and hope for a larger position. So this is normally a riskier trade than I would like. I like these bottomed out ideas where the RSI is rising as the price is falling. As you can see here, price is going down, but the RSI is continually going higher. Right now we're in that awkward awkward position where we had we technically already made a good trade. But either way, even if I have to take a small loss, that's as effective for me as actually making a good trade. A lot of people don't realize that, okay, if I made $1,000 yesterday and I want to go in today and I lose it all because I didn't take a $500 or like a $200 or $300 loss, like, oh, let's keep holding. I don't. If I enter a trade that I think is going to last for 6 hours and it turns south and I lose, I just cut it and I walk away for the rest of the day. I don't try to make it back. I don't even worry about it. I come back with a fresher mind when I'm adjusted. Again, the other thing that's really important here is to jump in and keep an eye on Bitcoin. So Bitcoin on the 1 minute has broken below. It's testing its previous support rung around 69.50. It's got a few spots of it there. So I'm constantly jumping back and forth between Bitcoin because, again, I don't trade in dollar terms. I don't give a shit about what the dollar term any of these tokens are at. I'm here because I want more Bitcoin, and the best way for me to do that is to stack small percentages like this. And that's, anyways, this is how I do it in the back. You guys had asked that I do this, so it seemed to make sense. So again, Bitcoin's actually broken below here. If we look, it's broken below the super guppy. It's closed below the mid-range of it as well. So it's pretty easy to think that we could go to the 6,700 mark and test that. So I do suspect that if we don't close above with volume 7140 here in the next hour, I don't have a countdown. In the next 3 minutes and 7 seconds, if we close this candle below here, we'll likely come down to 6,700, which could be beneficial for our engine trade. So back to engine, scroll into the 1 minute so I can keep my fresh eyes fresh. And again, I just watch what it's doing with the super guppy. I pay attention to my MACD, and I make it like it's the only thing I'm watching. I'm not doing anything else aside from chatting with you guys. So you all have my screen still. That's good. Again, see how it's really it's really behaving to the characteristics of this super guppy right now and hasn't brought us down to our EMA. That's actually a great sign. Now, again, if our buys don't hit here, that's great. Those were the lower case scenarios of like that extra 33% that I was willing to make as my extensive bet. So, and here it may come. We might see that quick candle downwards. And you just patiently enjoy the ride, right? So I took a 10% position at 2045, another 10 at another 20 at 2040 to equal that 30% entry, and then again at 2020. And for everyone, just so you know, I did make an earlier entry at 1990. So even if we go lower here, regardless, I'm still in profit, even if I close it out. So try to always buffer from as many angles as you can. And just be patient. So now that we're being patient, we're probably going to touch this 2020 line and maybe even the 2013 line. And as it looks like Bitcoin is going to head south to that $6,700 area, let's take a look at a few of your guys' questions and go from there. Shadow DG says, how many ETH do you think we will need for future staking? I'm not actually sure. That's a great question. I'm not sure what ETH is looking at for their staking opportunities. That's something for you that you guys will probably know a little bit better. I'd love to have some of the developers on to ask those types of questions, but I'm not really sure. Fear says, how would you play it out if you had just one buying opportunity? I would suggest that you don't ever look at it as just one buying opportunity. Because that's putting too much risk on a single entry point. And I think that in general, finding an emotionally stable place to enter and exit positions from is far more valuable than just FOMOing or FUDDing in and out of positions. That's my current market thesis and statement. That's how I operate. Everyone's different though. So again, you kind of really have to learn your own risk adjustment levels. Like what's your portfolio? So for instance, I have a friend that has a few $100 million in his stock portfolio, right? For between assets, real estate. And it took me almost 2 years, but I finally convinced him to put 1% of his entire portfolio into Bitcoin, right? So for them, that's a lot. But 1% might not be enough. So maybe you have $10,000, 1% of $10,000 is only, is what? $100? So you throw in $100 and you go from there, right? You just got to really adjust your own risk to reward relationship and understand what you need out of life. I think that's the best way to characterize it. Cindy Marie, great question, says 1 to 2K Bitcoin probability. What are your thoughts now? So those lower ranges were always in decreasing worlds of possibility. For those of you that took the time and did actually listen, thank you for doing so. I really appreciate it. It helps me understand that you got, like, a lot of you do listen logically and think creatively. But essentially what I had done was I laddered in 3 points of entry that I was willing to do, 33% at each. The best way I did it was around, to explain, for $10,000 was $3,333.33 at each position that I was willing to take, and go from there. If the other 2 positions didn't trigger, I don't really care. Because my goal is to be less emotional. Not more emotional. Not Moonland Boy, I missed it, the bottom's over, oh my god, I'll never go. So back to your question of what's the probability, well, it's less likely now. We won't know, but that likelihood of the 1 or 2K actually increases again as we go lower. So the probabilities are always changing. Right now, I would take it off the table. Right now, my range of possibility for the $2,500 buys that I have is just not there. At this point, I'm like, okay, well, I might as well spend that extra money on building a fucking pool. Because it doesn't make a difference. It's still an asset invested into another asset. This is the point that I've been trying to explain, that you need to understand your portfolio development as in comparison with someone else's is drastically different. So I don't know. We'll go from there. It's kind of up to you. So let's dive in and take a look at the charts again, just so we can stay frequent, and we'll go from here. Okay, so nice. We didn't trigger our lower positions, but we triggered the first 2. So exactly the same idea here as with Bitcoin, right? Basically, our $3,300 to $4,400 entries triggered, and the lower ones that we had down here at 2020 and 2013, which you could safely assume was 2050 and the $1,200 mark, didn't trigger yet. But I'm not worried. I'm not going to FOMO and just throw everything in now and think, oh my god, I missed out, because it's not safe. And then look, oh, it comes back down again. So let's take a look at Bitcoin and see how it's following our super guppy momentum, because again, what I'm trying to do here is earn more Bitcoin, not... Oh, beautiful, look. And Bitcoin just broke through the cloud, so we're probably coming down to probably going to come down and test 6,700 now. It's quite easy to see that we would test 6,700, and shit, Bitcoin may even come down to 6,200 off the back of this short on the break through the cloud. So what I want to do is be really careful with my engine position here, because if Bitcoin does start to move south very, very quickly, it's likely that it will do the same to engine, because people will just jump out and take the lesser of 2 evils, and Bitcoin is the lesser of 2 evils in this particular situation. So now that Bitcoin, it looks like it's heading south, it's broke through the cloud, it's changed my fundamental analysis for what I'm going to do with engine, and I may actually look to exit and close this position regardless. Here you can see the cloud has moved down closer, so there's less room for upside, and the bottom and the downside is actually increased, right? Because we still have our 2 buys. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cancel those first 2 buys that I had so that they don't accidentally trigger, because I don't want them to, as the trade looks more risky now because of Bitcoin's movement south, right? So again, all I'm doing is trying to look, how do I acquire more Bitcoin off these small 4 to 5% trades? Well, it's currently negative 5%. Now, you could have gone into true USD, but I don't like doing that. I prefer to stay in Bitcoin or in the crypto space in general, and I like the liquidity behind some of these other tokens as in comparison with true USD. If that makes any sense, for those of you that have been trading a long time, you'll know exactly what I'm saying. So again, here, let's take a look at all the indicators and see what they're saying. So you have your MACD, which has moved, it's already converged and diverged. It's looking to try to point up. Great, little bullish signal on the upside for us. We look at our other relative stochastic. This is a great indicator for those of you that want to know how to use this indicator. Or want this indicator on your charts. It's a great one to follow, especially on the 15-minute to 30 and 1 hour charts. This is called the CM Stochastic MTF. So if you go to your indicators, this is a really nice one. You type in Stoch, CM Stochastic multi-time frame. I'm even going to give it a little heart here. I'm going to go in, I'm going to like it. It's by Chris Moody. I don't want to put a secondary one on. anyways, this is a great little indicator. I do like it, but again, I don't follow it and I don't use it to make decisions for me. I just use it to back up the decisions that I'm already looking at making, and give me a clearer picture and indicator. Again, when you're in on the 1 minute chart like this, it's kind of confusing, right? Like this chart looks confusing as fuck, I'm sure, to anyone that doesn't know what's going on here. So we're actually pointing up on the 1 minute quite sharply. We can see that there's this red line actually represents a sell, and it's basically your RSI conversion versus your MACD. It's actually a very, very nice indicator, and it's multi-time frame, which means as you go in and out, it changes. It shows you relative to the time frame that you're in, kind of like the exponential moving averages. So it's a very beautiful indicator. There again, we have another positive sign coming in. The MACD is just crossed. So both the positions we entered, I think, are going to make this jump to the 2060. So this would represent only a 1% gain, not enough to be interesting to me. And again, with Bitcoin likely headed south in the next few minutes, or at least it's looking that way. On the 1 minute chart here, everything changes so quickly. So again, please never marry yourself to a position. I'm just as willing to exit here at 2002 at a slight loss as I am to exit up here at 2120 for a slight win. So the slight loss from here to here would represent a 2% loss. And again, like I said, if I take a 2% loss, I just walk away. I come back tomorrow, and I keep aiming just for those little 5 or 6% gains that we've seen so frequently in this beautiful market. So we'll just let it do its thing for another few minutes. Oh, Jesus, I'm always bad with this. So here we go. Show you again. I need the MACD is turning up on the 1 minute, but again, it's turned up 1, 2, 3 times and still not crossed over and not converged. Nor has it diverged. So again, we're in a great little area here. We're still above the mid-range on this, which is important because if we head up, it'll represent a stronger sell point. And the speed at which it moves up is also important to pay attention to. You'll get that as you grow more. And the RSI is staying strong above the 45 point, which is important for us. We want it to stay above 45 to be confident about this trade in the next hour. See, it's the downside here that I'm not super excited about is it's closed below the super guppy on the 1 minute every time. This means we're likely headed south. So here you really want to ask yourself the question of two things. What's your exposure risk? For me, we only took 33% of that trade. The lower time frames didn't enter, and because I felt it was turning a bit more bearish because of Bitcoin, I took off those lower 2 trades. So on the 1 minute, Bitcoin's come up to test the middle of the super guppy. It will probably come back up to test the $7,000 range, and then from there decide if it's going downwards further. On the 1 hour, again, you can see why that's important because it could bring us down as low as 6,700. Yeah, so the low point on the super guppy here is 6,780, and again, we haven't been able to break through the mid-range, so Bitcoin needs to close above 7,100, this mid-range here, for it to remain bullish, at least on the hourly. Again, this stuff changes very, very quickly. That's why when I'm making these trades, I watch so closely on the 1 minute, because a profit-taking situation might just be a few percent profit. I'm not always looking. Whatever suits the charts the best and kind of develops right in front of me as it's going becomes my best trade. So here again. Oh, good. I'm still sharing my screen. So again, we've jumped up above the first line of the super guppy. We're up at 2049. So all of our entries now are in profit. Not much, but in profit nonetheless. 0.5%, right? It doesn't look like a whole lot, but you need to remember that some of the biggest wealth funds on a daily basis aim for 0.5%. So if you can compound your account at 0.5% on a daily basis, you're fucking killing it. I don't even know how to express how much you're killing it, but math will very easily help you solve that equation. So again, just such a close eye on this. We'll answer a few of your guys' questions. Actually, you know what? I won't even go back. That way we can make sure that I don't mess up. Shadow DG says yesterday's market felt like it did back in the day when Bitcoin was in the $500 range. Actually, yesterday felt more like the $20,000 range for me to begin with. It says, do you think the bear market is over? That's a great question. I haven't personally felt that the bear market is over. I still have my doubts, but that's the whole point of the disbelief phase. So it very well could be over. We will know in the next month. We're going to get the indicators in the next month whether it's over or not. And then again, for me, for the rest of the bear family, it doesn't really matter. Those of you that have followed along for the swing trades, when Raven does 600%, it's like you can't really worry about if you didn't buy more Bitcoin with the extra cash you had. For me, I'm been way more consistent with. I mean, I think when we made a swing trade off Cardano, I think we pulled in $25,000 from like $1,000 entry point. Like, it's just ridiculous, right? So the point here is not to be worried about one thing or another. For me, it's mostly to continue educating myself as best as I can. So whether the bull market is over or not, it doesn't really matter to me. Oh, here we go. Look at this. Let's dive back in. Let's take a look at Engine. Exciting times. There we go. It's headed up to the first part of the cloud. Now, the first part of the cloud here, this is where we're sealing the first kind of ceiling resistance. Boom, powered through it. Nice. So here we go. The trade's working out. It's in our favor now. Everything's in profit. Only 1.5% to that last move. As you can see, it's come down. It's tested the first line of the super guppy. It's going to want to test that mid-range as it fans out. So the mid-range is actually down here at 2047, just below our entry point. Like that. Look, we never took those two lower entries. It's great. So we broke above that last wave. And now it's looking like we could go as high as 2122. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go in here, I'm going to grab this, I'm going to bring up my percentage profit loss gain. Where is this ticker? I use this one quite often, a long position. Here's my long position entry, like this, right? Here's the profit that I suspect I can take, at least on the 1 minute chart. And this could go higher still. And here's the range that I was willing to lose. So I was willing to lose around 1.5%. And I actually was willing to make an entry point down here as well to help circumvent that. But I'm looking for this quick 4% trade. And that's it. That's all I want. Because again, depending on how much you're trading with, 4% is a lot. It's a huge trade. So anyways, this is how we do that. We'll pull this back here so it's not in the way of our actual trading production. And again, I'm actually just going to go ahead and I'm going to set sell points up here at 2115. And I'm not going to sell all of it, but I'm going to sell about 30% of the position. So I'm going to give you guys my face back. I'm going to go into my trading account. And I'm going to set up that sell at 21. What the hell did I say it was? 2117. Let's go 2115. Nice even round number as the first part of our sell range. So 2115 is where I want to sell. Let's go 50% of the entire, actually no, let's not. Let's go 30% of the entire position. So 30% of the entire position, looking for a sell at 21.15. And then from there we'll adjust once we see it. So our lower buys definitely didn't hit, but that's okay. The first two did, and that's why we follow the super guppy so closely, is because it's really going to determine whether we enter or exit this position and whether we are going to be in profit or not for the rest of the day. Because I don't really, like I said, if it closes out and it's in the wrong direction, I just walk away from it. I don't even touch it. So I'm going to give you guys the charts back here, and then I will answer a few questions once I feel a little bit more comfortable. So the super guppy area that will probably come back down and test is right here, 2052. So if I was feeling ballsy and really confident about my position, I would probably double down there. And then again here too, at the 2060 mark. That's where we're likely going to test right now. That's going to be an important area. So I'll draw that in. These are our previous areas. And then we get to decide, well, we get to see what happens. We don't decide, the market does. So now I'm going to take a look at some of your guys' questions. Cindy's saying she's 67% bull. Nice. Again, for me, I don't really care whether Bitcoin is in a bull market or not at this particular point in life. I've found that the fun trading, I feel like a dolphin playing in these like short waves, like, woo, I'm in, I'm out, I'm in, I'm out of a trade, I'm in, I'm out of a trade. And you just keep stacking like 0.1, 0.2 Bitcoin every day. It's not, just get good at fucking getting losers out of your life, everybody, in every sense of the matter. So I want to keep a close eye on the trade, so I won't take too many questions here because it will take me away from the position, but I'm going to come in and take a look at your guys' thoughts. Midnight Star says buyer sell indicators don't work. Well, that's not true. You have to do all the work. Of course they don't. Anyone who's selling you signals or trades is probably putting you into a losing position. Happy Mother's Day, everybody. That's a great point. A shout out to all the beautiful women out there, whether they're mothers or not. Thank you for helping bring all the beautiful life into the world that you do. I am extremely grateful for it, and directly to my mother and her mother's mother and her mother's mother's mother, the family that extends into all of our ancestors. It took a lot of brilliant people for us to get here today, so thank you for that. That's a nice sentiment to get us on point with. Okay, so here's an interesting point. Let's take a look at it now. So here's one of those factors where you kind of got to decide your risk right off the get-go. So for me, taking a position that went from 2040 to 2027 is 2067 is around 1.2%. So I kind of got to ask myself, do I want to take that trade? Because here, as you can see, the super guppy is going to turn downwards, and it might actually come down again lower. So a big part of the question is when you see weakness like that, see how it turned down. I often will exit parts of my position and take a 1 or 2% gain, because again, and this is why you absolutely do not ever do this with a small trading account. The trading fees here would be ridiculous. It's not worth trading this quickly unless you have a position where 1% is actually worth moving. Otherwise, trading fees will eat you out alive, which might be a good thing. I don't know, depending on who you are. Maybe you like that kind of thing. You have a huge love for pain. So again, this is the thing, right? Super guppy turned down sharp and quick, right to the mid-range and right to that secondary of support that we had at the 2050 mark. So now we get to see, do we get stomped out to some degree on our position? Because again, this stuff happens so quickly in a day trade. It's a real test of your emotions. So if anyone has never done this, one of the funnest things that I like about it, it really puts you in the position to decide what kind of emotional trader you are or are not going to be. Because here it's like, oh my God, it's scary. Maybe it's going to go lower. I'm going to be in that negative range of the negative 1%. It's going to come down. It's going to test the moving averages again. And that's what I suspect that it will do. The fact that it hasn't come down to test the moving average on the 1-2 times now, I do suspect that we're going to come down and test the 2028. So this becomes two ideas. Do I want to double down on my position and add some at a lower price, potentially making the next entry more next exit more lucrative? Or do I want to keep the risk low, have a less emotional trading day, and if I have to, take a loss that isn't as significant, right? Because just as the way 4% is great at $10,000, if you're trading a 2% loss, that's $200. Sorry, did I say that right? I feel like I'm fucking high right now. No. God, I feel high. Why do I feel? I didn't smoke any weed. Maybe we should smoke some weed and this would feel a lot better. Yeah, I was right. I think I need some more coffee. It's early in the morning here, ladies and gentlemen. So a 2% loss can be huge for you as well. So that's, again, why a big part of this game is a game of averages. Aim for 6% and be sharp with cutting losses. And I don't come back to the table. If I take a loss and it took me 3 hours to do it, I just walk away for the rest of the day, and I count that as an effective win, because taking a loss is as good as taking a win if you do it effectively. Taking a loss that's down 30% and just holding is not a win for anybody, at least especially me. So I just keep a close eye on it. See, it's bucked right up against the middle of the super guppy here. So we're going to get to see the relative strength of what's happening here. If it continues outwards of the super guppy, we'll probably see that first indicator sell right now. So let's take a look at a few of your guys' thoughts and questions, because this is going to take probably another hour or two to really roll out and make any sense. Shadow says most of my holdings are in XRP. I'm not a big fan of XRP. I've actually, the next newsletter for all of our private bear members, I think you guys should be really excited about. It's a really great thesis. It's one I'm very excited about. It's my current trading condition, and I'm going to keep that as my trading condition for the next year. So for any of you that are interested in signing up to our private newsletter, it's nothing. All it is a newsletter, but it comes with a bunch of really cool things like a community, a bulletin board. We've been writing chapters for books, infographics, support from that community, because there's a thank you to all the Arcane Bear admins who are so helpful with everyone who has questions from how to unlock their treasure, or if they had problems trading, or how to do a stop loss. Everyone helps everyone in the Arcane Bear community. I'm so grateful for that. And that's one of the things that I think is really valuable about the newsletter, is all the people that are a part of helping one another. We also do a once a month deep dive into all the tokens that we're interested in, which will be intimately connected to the next newsletter that comes out. The next newsletter that comes out is going to basically be it's the starting thesis to the rest of my trading year from here on out. So if you can follow any of the UTXO breadcrumbs I've been dropping for the last few years, that's essentially what it is. At least in my long-term position, in terms of day trading, Raven or Engine, anything that has on average 6 to 20% bounces, I look for bottoms. And that's the other thing I think that's really difficult, everyone, while we're on this kind of rant, is I don't look for a token when it's at its high to buy in it, right? You look for it when it's been on a long-term downtrend. So again, if you look at the hourly chart on Engine here, it's been in a long-term downtrend. And the long-term downtrend, I look for rising RSI, lowering price range for quick bounces. Like again, this quick bounce here, that was a 6% move. And then I exit and I don't look back for the rest of the day. So here we saw this big bounce and then a sharp return. But we're actually, let's get rid of some of this mess here. See how we've actually, this bottom line has gone upwards and we haven't broken below that? This is another bullish indicator that we're going to at least test this moving average, if not go higher. So again, one of the reasons why I enter this position so low is because it represents a 15 to even 30% trading opportunity here for me on the hourly positions, which is usually throughout the course of 2 or 3 days. So if you use this last one as just a short range example, it was one day 10 hours to the mid top of the chart, and then it was pretty much exactly the same amount of time from there to the bottom. It was 1 day 7 hours to the bottom. So I just keep a close eye on that. Again, let's scroll into the 1 minute, give us that clear picture of the more immediate behavior that's taking place. Boom, we bounced right off the bottom of the super guppy and we didn't even go below it. Very, very beautiful sign. That means the cells that we have placed up top for our, what's our profit taking here? Stupid, this. Okay, so again, our target is a 3.92% gain with the potential of a 1.2% stop loss. Very, very easy, right? And our stop loss, we actually, like I said, we were looking at the potentiality of entering there too, but we didn't. So our stop loss ends there. So now we just keep a close eye on it. Again, behaving really, really nicely with the super guppy. This is a fantastic indicator. We have our own variation of this as well that we're rewriting. You'll be able to download it and use it if you do follow us on TradingView as well. So if you haven't yet, follow us on TradingView. I use TradingView all the time. It's a fantastic company. You can. I've got another chart open here on my iPad. I can open it on my phone. If you can open it on a TV, whatever you want to do. So I use TradingView quite frequently. So keeping a close eye on that. Everything looks good for the moment. Let's roll around, take a look at a few of your guys' questions and burn more this time. You guys want me to look at Bitcoin, I'm assuming. Russ says, I like this live trading. We need to look at doing this more often. Yeah, well, let's do this every Sunday. It gives a great example, I think, of what I like to do. This is what I do in my spare time. This is what I do for fun when I'm chilling at home, because I can get up, I can go play guitar for a little bit. As long as I got the charts open and I know that I'm generally in a place, I already have my cells set up at 2120. It's pretty relaxing, There's not a whole lot. And if I have to take the loss at 1% too, well, then I just do it. I just get used to taking the loss. So let's take a look at a few more of you guys' thoughts here. So Sebastian says, are you not saying when you enter or exit a trade? I said exactly when I've entered and exited a trade. Normally I don't do this. So this will only be on Sundays. Nothing that we do represents a call. Nothing that we do represents financial advice. Whatever you do at your own risk, at your own peril. You should suspect that you're going to fail, you're going to lose money, and it's all your own fault. So that's normally why we don't tell anyone about the trades that we're actually making or executing. Today, what we thought would be fun is to actually just go through and show you exactly what we've done. So here you can see we entered our trade at 2040 and 2045. 2040 and 2045, we put in 30% of the extra position we were willing to risk on this particular trade. The first part of our trade we actually entered around here, 11.99 this morning, or sorry, 19.99 this morning. That was a great year. So the first part of our trade we entered here, we weren't live, it was like 6 in the morning. But for the Arcane Bear admins in our admin channel, no, because I'm going into Engine, I'm doing a live trade, and this is what it turned into. Everyone agreed. We, as admins, all decided I shouldn't show my actual trading account. Even though we thought about opening a new one to see if we could just put a few $1,000s in so we could actively try to show you how you can build an account and what that looks like, but it's just too risky to do that. So instead, there's no numbers involved. It's just my entry and the exit points that I'm looking at. And again, not trading advice. We have to be extra careful when doing this type of stuff live because it does represent a more cautious lateral behavior necessary for those people that are watching what I'm doing. I'm going to give you my face here for a quick second because a beautiful human being just sent me a message and I want to read it. Oh, what? It's Mother's Day. One sec, ladies and gentlemen. I have to message someone and tell her thank you. Okay, there we go. That's done. Y'all can have the screen back now. Okay, so this is fun. I'm excited. Hats off to everyone. I'm really, really grateful for all of your support. Smash that thumbs up button if you like this content. Oh yeah, okay, see how this trade develops? See why it's so important? Let's take a look at our other indicators now too. This is gonna, oh yeah, look, here we go. Our MACD is about to cross over and upwards, right? Great sign. Oh, we didn't bottom out on our stochastic multi-time frame. Awesome sentiment as well. We want to get to at least the 49 area before I feel more confident again about the trade for the next 25 to 30 minutes. And then again, down here in the RSI still rising. So here what it's generally good to do is actually roll out through the 3-minute, see how the 3-minute is interacting. See on the 3-minute, we actually haven't even broken below the mid-range of the super guppy. This is extremely important. And on the 3-minute, we actually have a much higher time frame for sale. So on the 3-minute, the first sale point that I have, the first area of heavy resistance we need to break out through is 2076. So really we're looking for a breakout of 2076 on the 3-minute. Let's see if it goes out through the 5-minute. Same on the 5-minute. There's a big wall there. Now this is where it gets fun. On the 15-minute, our frame is all the way up at 24.95. So if this happens to be the extension that I was hoping for, this could turn into a 20% trade over the next few hours. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually give you my face back. I'm going to cancel that original sell. I'm feeling ballsy. I'm feeling like I don't need to have my sell up there anymore. Just give me a second while I go into my trading account, make sure none of you guys can see anything. Oh no. Okay, awesome. I give you my face back now, I think. So what I did there is I've just risk adjusted, right? So I actually think we might see this close to 20% move today. We're going to see it within the next few. We'll see the confirmations or the denials of it while we're on screen and live here with you. Boom! Look at that, right through that 2070 line. Now we get to test 2120. So I've actually taken that sell that I had off because as we went out to the 15-minute, it looks like we could go higher. So here we see all the positive indicators of what we want. We see a rising RSI right now, and it's about to top out. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put all my sells on at 2150, expect a slight retrace back down to 2040, and I might even make 2 swing trades here. Because again, let's follow my first rule of thumb here, which was I wanted I wanted only 4%. Let's not get greedy. So I'm going to give you my face back here. I'm going to change that position. I'm going to put my sell back in at 2115. Is that what I said? Let's double check the charts. 2120 is where the top is at, so I'm going to put mine in at 2110. I'm going to put a 2110, and I'm going to sell 30% of the position right there, because that represents a 5 or a 4% gain right off the get-go. And what is this? We're not even into the half-an-hour mark for our live stream yet. So again, none of this is trading advice. I have to be very careful with this when we're doing it live, as far as I know. So I do apologize for how many times I have to say this nonsense. And again, make sure you give my face. We'll go back and let's take a look at the charts. Oh God, this is exciting. I love when we had done this a few times when we first started the channel, was really follow trades and watch them develop together and understand what each of these indicators means to me and why we're using them. So here we go. See how we actually just got a sell signal come in on the stochastic, and it's actually lower than the last high. So it's not, this doesn't look good. This looks like, okay, well, maybe you want to make a little bit of an adjustment, but maybe you don't. We're still in profit, so it doesn't really matter. I mean, part of the question becomes your risk, right? So here, if we took profit at 1.8% now and we sold everything now at 2%, that's still a good way to go. So as a matter of fact, let's just do that. Let's show risk adjusted assessments as we move. So I'm actually going to sell a little bit, at least 20%, because you have to know what you're trading with, how much money you're working with, and what your fees cost. If you don't know how those things, I don't ever suggest ever playing like this, because you're gonna lose money just in trading fees. You have to make sure that you're clearing your trading fees if you're gonna trade 3 or 4 times in a single trade. So I always buffer. Make sure you know what you're doing, please. And don't blame anyone else if you don't. This takes years and years of practice. I remember the first time I bought put and call options on the S&P 500 in 2015. In 1915. Jesus, Tio, how long have you been alive? I had no fucking clue what I was doing. I made a little bit of money and I lost a bunch of money, and then I made a bunch of money and then I lost it, and I stopped trading in the stock market because I hated it. But I've gotten consistently better since then, because now I know what types of trades I want to make. Do I want to make a swing trade, or do I want to make a day trade? Like, this is very specifically a trade that's only meant to last for the next few hours. Like I said, we could get stomped out in this trade while we're live with you guys. So I'm actually, like I said, I'm going to take some of the profits right here at 2080, because it represents part of the bottom trade that I had taken as well. So I'm only going to sell around 20% of that, and then all that does is just remove a little bit of the risk as I'm going up. So that means it's easier to remain consistently in profit. So I think we'll actually likely break through that. But what I want to show here is my strategy, which is the point here is to remain with less emotion every step of the way. So my charts are looking good. Let's give you the chart back. And also, I hope you guys are enjoying this live trading of Engine versus Bitcoin. Again, in our trade overall, the one that we took since we've been live with you guys, we're up 2% in the trade that we took this morning so far at 1990. This red line here, we're already up 4%. So again, I'm going to actually take part profits in this 4% gain, because it represents part of my trading strategy that I've been interested in following. And then again, here's the downside. You can see the MACD is turning over. So is your stochastic MACD, and it's actually lower too than the previous one we had. So it was probably a good thing that I took out some profits there. Again, we'll probably come down now to test the super guppy bottom of at least 2050, if not 2030, which is the lower cloud range. Yeah, there we go. We're coming down to test that lower cloud range now. So this is what I mean. This is the thing, right? When you're watching on the lower time frames, things change quickly. So it's very easy to get kind of ahead of yourself on a trade. So staying patient and sticking to your strategy is extremely important. That's why we just took out some profits at the 2080 mark. It makes a lot more sense to continually remove the risk that, like, oh my God, what happens if it doesn't go so high, if I'm going to lose money today? Every time you can remove that emotion, you're making successful strategy placements. And that's what I tried to explain to everyone about my position with Bitcoin and why I don't fucking care is because I made a strategy, I stuck to that strategy, and I will continue to do the same thing over and over and over again. It's a rinse and repeat type game. It's the same with when I get in a car. I get in a car and I don't get in an accident, so I drive carefully. I remove that emotional risk by doing things strategically. Anyways, I know this is a little bit of a winded rant, but we've got time to cover. Nice. So there we go. The first 20% of our initial position has been closed out at a 4% trade from the 1999 entry we made this morning. From the entry that we made today, we started at 2040 and we're up 1.7% so far, right? So just for easy math, if you're trading $10,000, there's $170 in profit. You gotta ease. I usually calculate trading fees to be $25 on either side. I'm not necessarily sure. It's always changing. Fucking Binance. We should get rid of their trading fees altogether, and we will as decentralized exchanges come together, but it's not there right now. Again, it's really, really important to keep a close eye on these things. Like I said, this is a day trade. I'm meant to be out of this within the next hour or two, even though it has a 20% position potential. I'm not going to leave that potential open unless we break out past 21.22. So hopefully over the next hour during our live stream with you guys, we can see that potential take place or stomp me out and close. Either one I'm going to be happy with because it represents following a strategy. And that is what's important here, not FOMOing in or thinking that you're going to be... Look, most of the people that are trying to get rich off something very quickly have no strategy to stay rich for the rest of their lives. And that's what you need going into wealth, is understanding how you're going to maintain wealth for the rest of your life, not just have a one-off. Look, if you buy Bitcoin and get rich, you got fucking lucky. It's not like you developed a product or a service or you're valuable to your community. No, 2 to 3 years from now, you might not have anything left because you don't understand the point of this game. So that's why I try to make this explicitly clear here. This is about following business strategy as well. I'm playing right now. I'm not trying to make money. I make money as a side effect of having fun, learning more about doing what I can love. That's the point of the game. Anyways, take a look at a few more of you guys' questions. But again, what I want to also keep implicitly on the chart here is that paying attention to Bitcoin is extremely important. So as we said, Bitcoin is likely headed down towards the $9,700 area if it breaks this flag support here at 2890-ish. If you go to the 1 hour chart, it's actually a little easier to see. Boom. Yeah, we're going down to 2770. Hell, we might even come down to 6200 on Bitcoin right now. So this is the difficult part. Bitcoin's likely going to come down. It's going to test the super guppy here at 6766. It's probably going to jump back up to 7100 to retest the mid-range of the super guppy. If it does not close above that, especially on the hourly right now, it's going to come down to 6200. Now, none of these, this is what people don't understand about what I said for the $1,200 Bitcoin, is that none of this is exact. These are all possibilities and they change minute by motherfucking minute. So if you don't understand that, you don't belong here. I would like to keep quality people that can intelligently understand what it is I'm saying. If you don't understand what I'm saying, please go somewhere else. I don't even want you here. Even though I would love for you to learn from what it is that I'm doing, if you're not already understanding the simple logic that I'm presenting by saying things like strategy, emotionless trading, you're never going to get it. You're not going to get it until you personally develop a better version of your own wealth management, which probably means that you manage your own time better. Maybe you manage your own health better, right? Whatever it might be. Those are the things that are getting in the way from you hearing what I'm saying, because you're still interested in bullshit FOMO talk. And that's not what I'm here for. I'm here for the long game, not what happened yesterday or tomorrow. I'm here for the next 50 fucking years, hopefully. And I hope you are too. Anyways, that's a little bit of a rant. Again, Bitcoin, it looks like it's headed down to test the $6,700 area. Then if it breaks through the super guppy, 62.37 would be my first target. I'll give you my face for a few minutes. And then I will go back to Engine and we will continue following through on our day trade. Again, thank you all for joining us this live Sunday morning. I'm going to do this every Sunday morning. My goal here is to hope that it helps for you to see what I do specifically, because we don't do that very often. I just bounce off numbers super fast, and I don't think a lot of you understand that. I think that's why there's been so much confusion in the what happened with Bitcoin. So I want to make it especially clear here with you right now, and by giving you these examples on day trades with what I'm doing in Engine. But it's not financial advice. Don't make any of these fucking trades. Don't do anything I do. If you do anything I do, you're a stupid person, because I'm a stupid person. Don't repeat what stupid people do. Good. Now that we've got that out of the way, hopefully I don't have to say that too many more times. I hope we lose all the people that don't understand what I'm saying. I don't want them here. I'm sorry if that hurts your feelings. And also for all of you that do stick around and do listen and do know what I'm saying and do understand that there's faults and there's successes and there's failures and there's wins, thank you. Thank you so much, because I'm sure you're helping other people develop in their own lives as well, because you are leaders of your own space and time. You are a writer of your own story. I mean, considering I haven't smoked ganja, it sounds like I'm fucking high. Anyways, let's take a look at Engine here. It's doing some interesting stuff. Boom, boom, boom. So again, Engine is one of the ones I found that moves inversely to Bitcoin's price movement when I'm interested, and that's what I'm interested in, is because they represent my ability to earn more Bitcoin. I mean, shit, if you had just shorted Bitcoin or gone into USDT, you're up already 5%, right? But I don't like going into USDT. I would rather play with Engine, because at least I'm in the crypto ecosystem. I don't think shit coins are going away. They will be here forever. Speculation will always be here. New businesses will always be here. If you're arrogant enough to think that all the shit coins need to die, I'm sorry, I'll still be your friend, but you're fucking wrong. The penny stock market still exists, even though Amazon exists. They don't affect one another. They are a part of one another. The krill exist, even though the blue whales exist, and I can tell you the whales love eating the krill. So you're not going to get rid of the smaller markets. They're not going anywhere. There's no sense in thinking that's going to be the case. Bitcoin dominance doesn't mean anything to me in terms of global market, because what happens if Amazon all of a sudden jumps on to some strategically positioned UTXO blockchain that allows them to do messaging app, and now the whole entire Amazon stock is listed on fucking Ravencoin or something? Could you imagine? Trillions of dollars, right? That could be the case. We don't know. It'd be arrogant to think that we know what type of value a digital scarcity token can represent in every fucking field of this system. So it just seems counterintuitive. You know, I love Tone Vays. I really like Tyler Jenks, even though, you know, like I said, technical analysis is not an exact science. It's just supposed to help us increase our odds of success and decrease our odds of failure over time. So Engine on the 1 hour is looking good. We still can't break above the middle of see, here's what worries me right now. If we go to the 1 hour on this, there's two things here that are important to notice. A, we've diverged, so we're below the MACD. We're coming up to the top near our stochastic, not there yet, and we can't seem to really close volume above this middle line. This middle line here that I want to close with strong volume above is 2062. If we close with strong volume above 2062, I'll be stoked. And as you can see, if we roll into the 1 minute, we've actually just broken down below the super guppy, right, for the first time. And look at this, your moving average looks like it might cross over. So this trade might go south, and I might just close it out here because it's looking with the negative weight that Bitcoin is seeing, which is going to, it's already at 6,700. Okay, so 6,200 is it could be right around the corner for Bitcoin. We have to keep a close eye on this trade now because it could very, very quickly turn south for us. And we're already took some of our trade to be in profit for the day. So here, I'll give you the charts back. Boom. So here we are at the 1 minute on Engine, and we'll go over Engine and Bitcoin one more time here. Again, thank you all for joining us live. My goal here is to show you what I do, to show you how and why things work. It's not, we never, no one in any Arcane Bear will ever give signals or calls. You don't ever want to be a follower. You want to be a leader always. You don't ever let people make decisions for you. That's what's so amazing about Bitcoin. It gives you the power to manage your finances and wealth back into your own hands, where governments can't do it and take it away from you. That is so fucking huge. Learning how to do this stuff is just an extension of managing your own value and wealth and time set. So anyways, I'm feeling a little hesitant with my trade here now that Bitcoin is testing the super guppy bottom of 67.70. So again, let's look at this and I'll explain why I'm interested in the super guppy bottom and the 1 hour. Okay, so on the 1 hour, we've broken through the cloud and we're on a short signal. We touched the bottom of the super guppy at 67.66. If we break through that with volume at 67 or 66.79, we're definitely coming down to 6,200. Right, so this is the problem. Is I think I say so much so quickly, most people just can't take in what I'm saying because it's a lot of information, and unless you know how to use any of these indicators, you're going to miss out. But that's why I'm doing what I'm doing today, and why we will do this every Sunday. Is we're going to actively follow a trade versus Bitcoin's price movement. Right, so currently we're already 4% in positive for this trade from our initial entry, and we're around. Well, we're barely in profit now for the smaller time frames where we entered while we were live with you guys. Although at the height we did have that 2% trade, which represented 2084 from our 2040 entry. Again, the downside here is we're seeing the convergence of Bitcoin's price movement into the negative, and this is what I've said is difficult. Is I'm always trading against Bitcoin because I want more Bitcoin, not because I want more US dollars. I've said this countless times. If you're charting in US dollars, you don't know what you're talking about, because the US dollar is not worth anything. That's why over the next 10 years, Bitcoin could be worth trillions of dollars per Bitcoin. Yeah, and I believe that. Trillions of fucking dollars per Bitcoin. That way, so just so people understand where I'm coming from, I want more Bitcoin, not US dollars, because the US dollar is fundamentally fucking worthless. Even though, yes, I need it to buy a cell phone or pay for food right now, I'm not using my Bitcoin portfolio to do that. Anyways, a little bit of a rant. So here we go. We tried to, we couldn't see on the 1 minute. This is a beautiful thing, right? We're getting a stochastic. MACD told us we could turn up. It actually gave us a little bit of a buy signal in the 1 minute. I don't touch those, especially because we're actually converging downwards, although our MACD is turning up, looking positive right now. So what I might do is because Bitcoin looks like it could go through a free fall moment in breakdown, I might actually close this position out a little earlier than I had anticipated, take the profit of only 4%, or 2% actually at this midway point, and call it a day. So we'll actually get to find out. It's been really consistent here with staying on this trend line too, which is quite nice. Look at that beautiful trend line. If it could break that, so I'm going to actually look to enter or exit everything here at 2080, 2090 just to be safe, and I'm going to chalk that up to a smaller win than I had originally anticipated, but that still represents 2%, 2.5%. That's huge, guys. I really like. What does the best hedge fund average daily? What percent of hedge fund top hedge funds average? Okay. Corora, great place to ask questions and see if they have any. No easy answer here. If you annualize it over a 10-year period, I think the top guys are averaging 15% on a 10-year period. It says nothing about a daily return or even a weekly. I mean, if you're averaging weekly at 2% at 52 weeks, right, you're at 120% a year. You're fucking killing it. Fucking killing it. So again, this is a risk-adjusted management idea for small percentage gains only, for people that have larger portfolios and know how to fucking listen. And know that they're making their own mistakes. Goddamn fucking Moon Boy and FUD kids asking when we're gonna hit, or if what happened to the $1,500. If you don't know how to listen to what I'm saying about range trading, please never come back here, because it means your IQ or your EQ, or maybe you're just upset it's not high enough. We need, like, it should almost have a questionnaire. And look, Arcane Bear will always remain niche, because first off, I know I'm an arrogant asshole, and that's not going to go away anytime soon. So I don't give a shit what other people think. And when anyone that comes in is like, oh, looks like we never hit $1,200, just leave, please. Can you just leave? Because you never listened to me in the first place. And if you didn't listen to me in the first place, it's very unlikely that you're going to do it now. And if you're just going to come to a show and be a moron, I would prefer you were not here. So for all of you that would like to know if you're acting a fool, I would prefer you just leave. I would rather a quality smaller community than a bunch of people that don't know how to listen. Anyways, I don't want to rant and sound like I'm upset with anyone. I'm not. I just you get so many people are like, oh, well, what happened to $1,200? It's like, dude, what happened to you? Did you not learn how to clean out your ears and listen to people that are more intelligent than you are? Shit, son. You know what I do all day is I listen to people that are way fucking smarter than I am. Do you know why? Because that's how we grow. And I'm not saying I'm smarter than anyone. I'm saying I'm learning, and this is what I've found is a strategy that I've been consistent with. And here you can see directly on screen how this plays out real time. So every Sunday I will do this without regard. I apologize for the lower quality internet stream. We have to do that because we live in the jungle. For those of you that don't know, the jungle's right out that way. Here's a little view of my house. Downstairs, for those of you that have never seen it, I built this house from raw property. We put in all of the roads. We've dug a private well. We put in solar. I've got a greenhouse. I've got over 160 different fruit trees, from cacao, avocado, lemons, fucking everything, man. I love it out here. We grow ayahuasca, mimosa hostilis. You can even legally grow ganja in this country, although I don't because I'm not a citizen, but you can, and that's important enough for me because I have neighbors and they're allowed to do things that I'm not. So you work with your neighbors instead. Mwah! Love the community growth. Okay. Let's take a look at a few of your guys' questions. I'm feeling less confident about this trade now that Bitcoin is testing the bottom of the super guppy. Again, we are in slight profit. Even if I were to close it all out right now, this would represent a 1% trade, right? So here we'll show our trade analysis. Again, I really hope you guys are enjoying this content. The point of this was to show you more specifically what I'm doing, because I do know I jump online and I just say a bunch of numbers and stuff, and people only hear what they want to generally. I think that's why so many have had trouble with the $1,200 Bitcoin idea, is because they only heard what they wanted to instead of actually listening to what people were saying. And that's important, that you really learn that I'm clear. So the reason I'm doing this today is so that I can be very, very clear with everyone about how and why and what it is I'm doing, instead of just blasting numbers out. So here you can see, oh, cool. Oh, it actually shows you the positive lead gains. So here we are in the lead gain. It's only, 1.3%. And it looks like it's turning south because of Bitcoin. So it just, it comes down to a risk reward assessment area, right? I may actually close out part of my position right here just to lower the risk for the rest of the trade, right? Because even though it's only 1%, A, that's enough to cover my trading fees, and B, it's not a bad little day trade. 1.5, oh, boom, there we go. Candle wick down. So here comes the question. I'm going to put my sells in at 2060, and I'm just going to close out some of the risk here because I want to make sure that this trade represents the strategies that I follow every step of the way. So you guys can't see my trading screen. I'm going to drop in. I'm going to type in 2060. I'm going to close out 50% of the position. Oh, boom, and there it goes. Everything's in at least the entire position is not in negative, but now it's back in exactly where we purchased. It's right back down touching the EMA. Again, with the weight of Bitcoin, it's not looking super exciting. This could actually blow my stop loss into place. But again, we did take 30% of our profits originally up there at 2080. So we did take some profits, so it's not a total loss, even if we did close right now. And so what I'm doing right now is I'm basically just taking through you my emotional dialogue as we go through this situation, because that's really what this is. It's always a consistent emotional dialogue over the course of 2 or 3 hours of what I want to do with my trade and how I'm feeling emotionally, right? The reason I wanted to do the day trade and why I'm going to do this every Sunday is so that I can make it very, very clear how my strategy works for me. It will not work for you because you are different. You need to come up with your own game plan. This is just what I've been doing. It's been working for me. Again, you need to learn how to take losses. That's probably the part that most people have as a problem. So look, if we hit 2018, I'll just take the loss. I'll call it a day. And I'll come back tomorrow and I'll do the same thing, right? And I'll aim for another 6%. Right, so you just keep averaging. I've averaged, well, the average right now is probably 3 trades successful to 4 losses, or 4 closed at basically entry points to some degree. Like, say it's getting close to lunchtime and I'm in profit. I'll just close it and I'll walk away for the day because I want to go eat lunch instead of like sitting by the computer and getting all stressed out. So here it looks like the trade is going to turn south for me. Our RSI is actually dipping to an oversold position. We're basically at we're not in profit. We've closed. We're basically back at our entry point, but we're representing a really important part of the test right now, which is a test of the EMA line. I'm actually going to close WhatsApp because so we don't get any more messages in. Yeah, so we're testing the EMA, and look at this. See here, here's the downside. Look at that. The EMA is actually crossing over. It's becoming bearish now. So I have to ask myself the question: do I want to take? I took out 30 to 40% of my position. I forget. At a win at 2080 here, and now we're in a slight loss, and it looks like it's going to continue lower. So do I want to just close it all out right now? Or do I wait? I actually suspect we'll get a bounce up to 2055, and I'll be able to make not a loss, but not a huge gain on that ticker. So I'll stay with you guys for another half an hour, and then I'm going to basically close the position out. And that's going to, how much time are we at? An hour and 14 minutes, right? So yeah, this represents around that 2-hour time frame that I look at for my day trades. Or the short little swing trades. I'm going to put a sell marker up at 2062, and I'm going to close out my entire position. So I'll show you guys why I'm doing that really quickly before I do it. So again, here we've hit the EMA, right? Kind of bearish in my mind. We're around the 2 to 3 hour time frame. If we look at our profit margin from where we are here to that 2060, that represents a 1% trade. Again, that covers my fees, and it actually brings in profit still. Not a lot, but enough. Well, for some people it might be a lot, I guess. Depends on where you live in the world. Boom. So see, we're going to go up, test the super guppy. So I'm going to close out 50% of the trade at 2062 right now. So I'm going to give you my face back. Nice. We 2062 at 50% of the trade and sell. Okay, so I've just executed my sell. I'm going to make sure I open up my non-trading screen, give you guys back the screen we're watching to trade, and then go from there. So I have from the position that I closed at 2080, I have 100% of that left. Now from here, this is a very important time because it's 2 things. A, I only want to trade for anywhere between 2 to 6 hours out of the day. I want to take a loss or take a win, and then I'm going to walk the fuck away. That's it. That's my trading strategy. Super simple, very easy to follow. I look to take a 1.5% loss to make around 5% for every trade, and we average there too, right? And that we average that by making sure that we do things like follow a strategy, which means, okay, we're running up on the 2-hour mark potentially of the trade that I've been, because remember, I entered this originally at 1999. at the first breakout over the Super Guppy and the EMA that I saw on the 1 minute. So now we're in the very, very last parts of the extension of that trade for two reasons. A, the time frame, because I don't want to stick around for too much longer. An hour-long live stream is tons of time. And B, it shows you guys every step of the way what happens. And hopefully none of you took this trade, because like I said, I entered it this morning at 6:30 a.m. There's no way I was going live because I didn't have any coffee yet. But I really, really wanted to show you guys this because I think it'll be helpful to understand when I say things like laddering in and out of position and following a strategy, so that those of you, again, that are giving me the space to actually hear what I'm saying, it makes more sense, and why it would make sense. So yeah, this looks not good right now. I don't think that we're going to get that bounce up to 2060 that I was looking for to close out the trade in a slight profit. So I have to ask myself here in the next 10 minutes, do I want to take a slight loss on this position, which is only, again, not even a percentage here. It would basically just be the trading fees, and call it a day, because we did take around 30 to 40% of our first position out of, was it a 4% gain? Yeah, a 4.4% gain. So we took out around 30 to 40% of our initial trading position at a 4% gain. Our second spot here, we're sitting at no percentage gain, because we entered it with you guys live at 2040. Yeah, 2040 right here. So there's the potential that I can close it out and have no losses. But again, the good thing here is two things. Let's do this, and then I will answer some of your guys' questions, because I think I'm just gonna, it looks like I might just have to close it out unless we see a sharp turnover here. So generally, if I'm in the position, okay, let's use this as a great example for potentially taking a loss or closing off at only a small bit of a profit. So I already have my I think we're in the negative space. Points could be coming down to 6,200. I don't want to endure that to what it might do to the rest of the shit coins. I call, whatever you want to call them, speculation coins. Let's call them speculation coins. I think it's a little bit more honest and mature about the entire situation. So for my speculation tokens, yeah, we're now in a slight loss, right? But that's not unnormal. That's not unnormal to break below the EMA, and then have a quick sharp retrace. So again, my hard sell was at 2019 here, for a loss, and we'll probably hit that. You know, it's hard to say. This could be a really interesting endeavor. I'm going to ask you guys a question, so please answer this. Do you want me to spend another hour and a half here? Because if we spend another hour and a half, I won't close my position right now. I'll wait for it to bounce off the 2018 line and see if we go higher. So let me know if you guys are liking this, if you're enjoying it, if you find it helpful. If you do find it helpful following along, I'll do it for another hour, because it's Sunday morning and I have nothing better to do than drink coffee, hang out with you guys, and go over these trade strategies that I've been following. And again, it's not something that you guys should do, but it's helpful, I think, to see someone in action, especially on these short time frames, because it all happens so quickly. We literally get to watch trade develop as we're online together. So please let me guys know if you do want me to stay for a little bit longer and go over this. We'll just roll to the bottom of those questions. What indicators do you use? Great question. AX Point says you're on a 3 or 5 point Elliott wave stream. Keep it going. Nice. AX likes it, thinks we should stick in for a long trade on Engine here. I agree. There could be the potential for a 20 or 30% trade here. So keeping it on the long term could be great. I mean, and you guys are saying, everyone's giving me the thumbs up to stay for an hour longer. Great stream. Please stay with us. Thinking it's taking much more time than that hour and a half, to be honest. Yeah, we could, I mean, again, guys, we could roll into the longer time frames here. And yes, everyone's saying yes, please stay. Okay, great. So what's going to happen right now is I'm going to make a little bit more coffee, and we're going to just let this stream stay open. So please, all of you, stick around with me for the next hour here. We'll let the trade develop a little further. I'm going to actually oh, shit. Oh, fuck. I hope that's not to give away. Luckily, I was smart enough to open multiple Binance accounts back in the day. So this is my personal trading account. Hopefully that stream wasn't open long enough. You guys can all pause it and see. Basically what I've done and what I want to do, see, the goal this morning was to actually show you the trading account as we were doing it, because I've got a trading account with not a whole lot of funds in it right now, and all the admins suggested it wasn't a safe thing to do. So sadly, yeah, we won't do it that way. I won't show you guys a trading account, but in the future here, if I can, once I can transfer more funds into one of our, like if we can open another Binance account or something like this, I want to put maybe like $5 grand on an account and show you guys trading that, trading from there. So yeah, there's nothing really I can do about the fact that I showed my trading screen there for a second. Again, luckily I keep hardly any funds in my trading accounts. Well, for me, it's hardly anything. I guess it depends on who you are. This is all a very subjective conversation. So please remember that whatever you're doing is very subjective to your own trade strategies. I'm going to see how much information I gave away there. No, not a whole lot. That's good. I mean, you guys can see. It doesn't really matter. I don't really care. That trading account is whatever. There's nothing else I can do. I've already ruined it. Either that or I'd have to delete this entire stream. So either I'm going to have to delete I'm going to have to delete the entire stream, or we're just going to leave it the way it is. So it's basically up to you guys. And I don't think deleting it is going to make much sense at this moment. It would just be unfair. But I'm going to cancel that sell at 2060, and we'll just stick in the trade. And you know, here's a point where I may actually double down. Like if I decided I'm going to stick around for another 2 or 3 hours and make a heavy trade, I may go and double down. It depends how I'm feeling. Some of you guys are agreeing we could see a 20 or 30% spike here, off of engine again too. So give me a few minutes. Please stick around. Remember to give us those thumbs up. Ooh, we're seeing red in the super guppy though, Bear family. Not a great sign. Not a great sign. It's almost one of those questions where, do I want to close out my position at a slight loss and take in more of a gain, or do I just double down? Because I think we're going to come down to this 2002 area now, which is basically going to put me right down to where my stop loss is. It's not set because I'm actively trading, but it looks like we're going to come down that far. So part of the question is I might actually set up another buy at the 2000 range for a quick spike bounce back up to the 2062. So please stick around with us if you're interested. Give us those thumbs up. I will be back in 1 second. I'm going to make some coffee. I'll be back. So here, is there any way I can put on music that won't get us copyright infringements? Yes, there is. I'm going to put on a little bit of the guitar that I was playing yesterday, just for a quick, and then for those of you that don't know, this is what the view from my house looks like on a good day. So the view from my house on a good day is a beautiful thing. Drinking coffee. I want to, so anyways, I'll be back in a sec. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a music to play, to listen to. It's only going to take me a minute. So again, this live stream is a strange one. I have no idea what I'm doing. This is the first time we've done it, but I'm going to leave you here with this, which is just a little bit of guitar for the next minute. Here we go. I'm back. I swear, Bear family. Coffee's made. Oh, that's a little song I'm working on. Writing a little folk album right now. Oh, why did I not leave the charts open for you? That was kind of rude of me. I should have left the charts open. Very, very silly. Okay, we're back. We'll take a look at a few of your guys' questions. We're butting up right against the 2020 area on Engine. So again, it is below our current trade by 0.5%. But you guys did all say let AX is saying, looked at just the depth chart, no account info, might be good to reset. Yeah, so I did make sure there wasn't a whole lot of money in this account. So sadly, I made a mistake there. It's gonna. I mean, I wonder how many times I'll do that if I do this once every Sunday. I need like a second computer. That's what I need. I need to be able to make these trades from a second computer so I never screw up the stream. I'm gonna have to open up my other computer here the next time. I might delete this stream. It doesn't really make any sense for anyone that's gonna come in here a few hours from now anyways. So maybe what I'll do is I'll leave it up for an hour or two. I'll let all the core people that have been around for a bunch of time watch the video go through, and then we'll probably delete it because it's there. Okay, here we go. Let's dive back into the charts and take a look as the super guppies actually turned red. And it's butting up against our line here. I might actually go into the position again. So here, take a look at this. Okay. See, we have a falling price, quite heavy, but we have our indicators are actually getting higher. This was a reason to potentially enter a heavier position around 2020. And because I did have buys there already and we decided we were going to go for another hour or two, I'm actually going to take a small position at 2020 and 2017. And as well as I'm going to have another buy at 2000 just in case, because it could represent the next hour or two, especially because we're in red on the super guppy. And I might even have a little bit of a cigarette smoke because 2 hours together of just live ranting might be a little easier to have a little bit of a smoke and a coffee during this thing. So we almost need like some elevator music in the background, like some jazzy, let's see, what can we open up? Copyright free, oh, here we go. We can go to SoundCloud. SoundCloud has a bunch of stuff. We'll put on tracks by Slyn Dana, one of my friends here. She always writes some pretty cool my nigga telling me I'm tripping cause I fell for that hoe. She sent me pictures on car gripping through her mail on the floor. I put some BBs in my teeth, they cost me. Let's leave it on in the background. This one's fun. I can't see. Oh yeah, here look, Arcane. There we go. We'll put the Arcane track on. See that? Give Slyn Dana some love for having the Arcane track. Anyways, pretty good story. We'll leave that on as some background music. I'm going to actually enter a small position here. Is the music okay? Can you guys still hear me? Okay. If you guys please let me know if the background is okay. Again, thank you all for joining us. We're doing a live stream today. So currently what we're trading is Engine versus Bitcoin session. I wanted to end the stream around 2020, but so we're actually going to wait. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to roll back in and give you my silly mistakes so that way no one can see the trading account again. Because I made those silly mistakes in the first place. I'm going to type in 2020, the year for next year. I'm going to add another position to my trade, potentially, if it actually triggers. I'm going to close out all of my cells that I had. It looks like the super guppy here right now is extremely important. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the charts back now that I have a buy position entered. Cool. So let me know if the music in the background is okay. Oh, turn the volume down. Sorry guys, maybe I don't know how to do the computer volume. Too loud. Music is too loud. Okay, sorry guys. I didn't know how to do. I don't know how to. I need a second computer apparently, so we can have like background music and I can make trades without accidentally showing you guys my screen. I apologize. The track's off. We'll leave the volume off. No sense in doing that. I apologize. I didn't realize it was so much louder than my vol. So I actually took an entry at 2022 or 2020 for those of you guys that didn't hear me because I had the music way too fucking loud. The key indicators now are to look out, are we going to continue higher? And we could actually postulate that was where we go. Yeah, the retracement to the top of wave 3. So now we get to see if it's a bigger wave 1. Again, we're looking really for a breakout above 21.22. That's like when things start to get super milky sweet. So I won't do the music thing apparently, although I wish I could. Let me see if I can open it up on my phone or something, just so there's a little background music for me, at least. And again, I apologize. We'll get better at this live stream Sunday morning adventure here. Okay. So again, this is just a game of patience now. We have our lower buy put in. We're breaking through the mid-range of the super guppy. Bitcoin is still battling that mid-range. So let's take a look at Bitcoin because this is always helpful. On the 1 hour. And again, I'm always referencing back to what Bitcoin's doing because it's important to keep an eye on it. Yeah. So again, it bounced up. It looks like it wants to test this 71.37 area. To decide if it wants to come lower. So again, remember we're playing off the back of Bitcoin. So if I decide, if Bitcoin looks like it's going to go even higher, I change my direction. And it looks like it might. See how we didn't close with volume below the super guppy? That's a very positive sign. Now over the next hour, we get to watch as it close below the mid-range of the guppy and then go from there. So it makes it quite simple. Make sure check my buys here. Great. Nice. My position took. So I did add an extra bit of Raven there at the 2020 mark as part of my trade. Again, none of this is trading advice. I'm just showing you what I'm doing. Again, I hope you guys all find this helpful, useful. I think it's important that we do share information like this. So every Sunday, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to jump online and try to find some active trades to take place, so I can show you guys the strategy, the emotional things that take place while doing this. See, this isn't really, I'm not super stoked right now on the 1 hour. The 1 hour chart is not looking good for us here because, see, we took our position at the bottom, right? So now our secondary positions are in the mid of the super guppy, and I don't really like that. That's not a good place to be. There's a lot more room for downside where we're sitting right now. So potentially having to take a loss at this point is super important. And also, see here on the 30-minute, we're actually at the mid-range of the super guppy. Oh shit. I'll get good at this, I swear, guys. See, we're at the mid-range of the super guppy. Right here on the 30-minute, and at the 1 hour, we're not. At the 1 hour, we're actually below the mid. See this red-orange line here, which ends up being this spot at 2160. The fact that we couldn't stay above there at 2060 is bearish for me. So now it's really going to come down to what happens on the 1 hour chart as we scroll in. So back to the 30-minute. Oh, nice. Well, my position triggered on 2020, and we're back at 2040. So everything's in profit again. That's one of the fun things about the following these day trades is things happen so quickly. So now the real crux, do we close above the super guppy at 2040 with volume? So I'm gonna give you my stupid face for 1 second here. I want to make sure that my buy is triggered. Great, buy is all triggered. I've got all my selves closed for the moment. I'm going to give you the our trading screen back. Boom, there we go. So I picked up a little more at 2020. It didn't actually trigger the whole thing. It triggered around 40 to 50% of the buy that I had in there. And now it's in profit. That one actually itself is already in profit 1%. Not a lot, but when you're trading with, the more you trade with, the bigger that is. Boom. So we're likely going to come up to test 2060. Again, remember on the hour, the 2060 is like the place to beat with volume. We haven't been able to close above there with volume at all. But that's what we want, because if we close with volume above the hour right now, we're probably going to make that continuation. And then that trade for us could extend another 11% from where we entered, which could be huge. Now on the downside here, what you see is the moving time frame stochastic has turned down, but it's still above the 50, which is great because it could still turn up and bring us a lot of momentum. The MACD on the 1 hour is still pointing up, so I just scroll back down through my time frames and see where we're at. Okay, on the hourly, we're right in the gray of the super guppy. This is good. Again, we want to break out of this 2060 line, and boom, look at it go. Pushing to 2060, beautiful. So now we're that last little bit that we took on more risk because it could go lower, right? Which means we had more portfolio exposure, but now it's already up 2%, right? And that's a big gain if you're playing, depending on what you're playing with. I mean, again, if that's $10,000, it's a $200 gain in less than 10 minutes. Okay, it's fucking crazy. It's a crazy amount of momentum, and this is one of the reasons why I like this type of swing trade, is because if you are close with it, you follow your strategy, you learn how to take losses. Again, so we're going to add our buffer stop loss for our long position. We'll show you where that is. We entered now at the 2020 mark, and we're looking for the breakout to 2021. And from there, we'll reassess. I mean, I'll probably sell half of it at 2021, and then I'll keep the other half for the potential that it could go another 10 to 12%. So beautiful. This trade is actually working out beautifully. Again, the 2062 mark you can see is fucking huge. Fucking huge. Look how many times it's tried to break through and above that line. So it's really important that we do that right now. And the other thing that's really important is that on the minute chart, this blue line comes above the red one. If the blue line comes above the red one, I'm going to feel stoked. Now, I actually might close out the position that I took at 2020 right here, because chances are we're going to come. See, if you're fast at this game and you're playing with a bigger chunk, you can just keep adding a few percent every swing. Right? Again, it's very, very turbulent on your emotional behavior, but it's possible. So again, MACD just crossed over, looks great. Now I go to the 5 minute. What's the 5 minute look like? 5 minutes not looking good, right? We didn't even get close to closing above the 2062 mark, but at least we're above the super guppy. So as long as we close above the super guppy here on the 5 minute, we've actually got another 5 to 10 minutes to go. So we really, 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 really want to see us close with volume above 2062 here, or I may just close out the entire position because the next hour is already on the clock, right? We're already We're already an hour and 40 minutes into this trade position. And again, we can see here very, very clearly we're having troubles closing above 2060. There's this massive support and resistance line, and it exists there. Well, the lowest point is actually at 2027, and then from there it continually decreases depending on where we're looking at. So it's actually quite a bit lower. It's at 1800. That's why I said this is a really risky trade. I do suspect that it will bring us up to 2190 quite nicely, but again, you just got to keep scrolling in, paying attention, scrolling in, resuming, and then assessing your risk situation, because the bottom here could represent a 10% loss if you don't close your position and actually take it. So it's always a close-eyed game. On the 5 minute, let's take a look. On the 5 minute, we've actually just spiked upwards. We didn't diverge here, but we're looking for maybe a potential convergence. So again, even potentially positive on the 5 minute. So this is all great. Everything looks great here for the next little bit. Scroll into the 1 minute. It's going to give us a little clear adaptation of what's going on. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4 times on the 1 minute, trying to break through 2060. We need volume at least on the 5 minute above it. And look at that, boom, trying to do it again. There it goes, 2083. Beautiful spike to 2083. So there we go. Everything we did is in profit now. Already 4% in profit if we were to sold it. So you just got to learn how to take it. Like right now, we could go in, we could throw our sells up, we could call it a day. But we're not going to. You guys all asked that we did stay another hour longer, and this has only been maybe 20 minutes. And I have more coffee. So I need to find a way to look at your guys' questions. Here we go. I'm just going to do this. I just won't even change the chart anymore. You guys can see our face. It's the best way to go. Oh, you can turn down SoundCloud. Nice call, guys. Thanks for that one. Yeah, if you can, please give us those thumbs up, guys. It helps other people find this information that they're looking for. Again, look at that. See, it just comes right back down to that 2060 area. Not even a moment of hesitation from 2080 back down. It looks like someone brought out a big chunk though, because on the 1 minute that jump to 2100 happened in a few seconds. So that's probably someone almost buying. That's probably about a Bitcoin, maybe 2 Bitcoins worth of purchase. Wow, right back down to the super guppy. Boom, boom, boom. Look at that. So this is why sometimes it's good to set those sells fast, right? We knew 2060 was a hard line. We could have put sells there and been in profit, and then rebought back down here at 2030. Like you can make range and swing trades like gangsters when these things are moving. So everyone has to find their own strategy. This wasn't a good sign. Again, we couldn't close above the 2160. This is the third time now, and it doesn't feel super bullish to me. But again, we're looking at really low time frames, and that's it always makes things feel quite a bit more hectic. But more importantly, what I really, really need to do is see us close above 2060 on hourly with volume and continue to at least 2119. Then we could look for a real great run of upwards of another 12% from where we are right now. So those are the three outlooks. Again, the bottom percentage of loss right now is all the way down here at around 8 to 10%. This yellow line. So remember that there's a lot of room for downside still. So I'm ready in a heartbeat to just hit market limit, sell, and take a loss if I need to. Right? So I just keep scrolling back in, and I watch the charts like this, like a goddamn hawk, for about 2 or 3 hours until I'm comfortable with my position. Right? So maybe even just for fun, I'm going to close out some of it at 2080. I'm going to put my sell there because I think we're going to hit it again in the next minute. And I'm going to close out half of the position that I have in general, because then that way, no matter what, everything is in a positive win. And that way, no matter what happens, we can say that we did a live trade and it was positive, because that's always a helpful indication. I'm sure everyone loves seeing the success of the idea come out. So while you're looking at my stupid face, I'm going into Binance. I'm typing sell at 2085 is where I'm putting my current sell, 2085, and I'm going to sell half of it at that, and I'll keep the other half just in case we stay online and it goes longer. If not, we'll get to see what happens. So my trade has been entered. I'll give you our screen back. Boom, there we go. So why did I want to do this? What's the point of doing this? It's not so that you guys make these trades, that's for sure. But I think more clearly I wanted to show you what risk assessment looks like on the fly. On a minute-to-minute basis, I think it's a hell of a lot easier to see. It's a lot easier to feel too, especially if you're playing with, let's say you got 10 grand on the table, and you're playing every percent down that it goes is $100, right? Every percent up that it goes is $100. Really easy math. So you know that you get to feel in real time how that affects your emotions. So I think this is an extremely important way for others to see how that affects me during my trades, not to make these in any way, but to see the emotional dialogue that I'm going through. Like, oh, look at that, we hit that. We've hit that a few times now. We haven't been able to break out of this 2060 area. It's ridiculously strong. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a sell there. I'm going to remove that. So I'm just taking you through my internal conversation with how I adjust and take profits, right? Because even from that 2020 entry we had, that was another 4%, right? So if you entered and exited with 10 grand on that and you were able to sell it, although it's a very thin candle, so I don't think you would have been able to move. It's probably under a Bitcoin or two that actually built that candle up. I can't check it right now, but I would suspect that you wouldn't have been able to sell all of your position there anyway. So you got to remember that you can only move what the market is willing to move. So generally what you would want, what might have been a clear situation was to have sells set up at 2085 and buys put up at 2020. So that way you just went bang, 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 and I could have sold and bought back in without even thinking about it twice now. So again, you just develop your own kind of comfort setting, I guess, or like ease of use. So it's, again, look here on the 1 minute, the blue is below the red. That's not great for us. We want the blue to be above the red. That will help give us at least a longer term definition for the next few minutes. If we go out to the 5 minute, how does everything look? Actually looks great on the 5 minute. Look at that big candle outwards though. It couldn't break. It's going to come down and test 2035. It's my guess right now. It's probably going to test that once more. Again, this looks weak to see the fact that we can't break above the 2060 area, 2080. That's why I put half of my swing trade account up at a sell right here at 2080. Boom. So I put half my swing trade sell right there because it represents actually a 4% gain from the lower target entry that we made at 2020 now. Which is good enough for us instead of the 6% or 5% that was possible if we go all the way to 21. So again, this is just a constantly roll through, constantly adjusting, constantly paying attention. This is why I call these Hawkeye trades for all of you and the Bear Den members, is because if you're watching these, you're on a minute-to-minute basis sometimes, and then again, remember, you want to always go back, take a look at what Bitcoin is doing on the hourly, and really try to make your adjustment from there. So Bitcoin on the hourly is actually showing a short signal through the cloud. And it's coming, look at this, it's going to test the 6,700 area. If we break below 6,670, Bitcoin's going to come throttling downwards. And what I'm worried about is that if it does that, that's going to interrupt my Raven position, my engine position. So I'm watching Bitcoin to make sure that if it breaks that $6,700 area, I just liquidate my engine profits back into Bitcoin, because it moves so quickly that it could erase all of our gains in a matter of seconds, and then turn it into like a 5% loss, and then that's no fun, right? Better to take a win at 2049 here for everything and close out the entire account than it is to take a 10% loss because Bitcoin decided to shit its knickers for a minute. So anyways, again, not very good sign here on the 1 hour. We really want to close above that mid-range guppy. It's trying its hardest. As you can see, the volume profile support is actually built up quite heavily in this area. So I don't think it's going to go down too much. And then again, it's very easy to see that we could see this jump to 2189 too. So actually, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set my next sell target at 2180 and just call it a day. So we've got sells at 2180 and 2080, and I'm going to sell the rest of it there. Boom. Both my sells are set in place. So now it's a waiting game. It's a waiting and watching game. See, again, I'm not really excited about the 1 hour chart here. It doesn't look good for us. It looks like we may want to just exit our position here. Yeah. 2080. Yeah, the fact that we can't break above the super guppy even on the 30-minute here, it's not looking good. Although we're on the middle range of the 30-minute and we're holding it with a lot of stability, it gets more and more risky every minute that we move out and that we don't break above 2100, or more importantly, close above 2060 with hourly volume. Very important to close. with volume on the hourly in the mid-range of the super guppy to have any type of momentum in the direction that we want. So yeah, it looks like we're going to come back down, test 2040, test the $2040 or sorry, 2040 Satoshi area. Take a look at some of your guys' questions. Yeah, I'm really not excited in terms of being able to get that 20% gain that we thought might be possible in this 2 or 3 hours. Again, we don't know. This is the whole thing about technical analysis. You just follow it like this so that you can pay attention. It can teach you what's about to happen. We can do that with Bitcoin really quick too. Actually, let's do it with Bitcoin really quickly. Well, let's start at the 1 minute. So on the 1 minute, we can see the MACD is actually turning up. Great, looks nice. Might see that bounce to the 69.75 area, which you can see also is highlighted in the 1 hour chart, right? This which is highlighted actually by the mid-range of the super guppy, which has moved down a little bit at around 7,000 and 69.50. So the next few areas here are really important. You can see it more clearly again on the 15 minute. It will be the mid-range of the super guppy at around 7,000 here. So we're going to expect Bitcoin to bounce probably up to the $7,100 area. Like I said, it's butting up against your exponential moving averages. That will bounce probably to here. Again, that might give us that extra little bit of momentum in Engine to close our trade position out. You guys can oh fuck. Okay, let me show you again. Bitcoin on the 15 minute on the EMAs up to the super guppy top. That's my guess. Although the super guppy could go red here, and we could see this break down to the $6,600 area below the support of the volume profile that we're seeing fill. So it's important to, again, the reason why this is important, guys, is because I think what went wrong with people not understanding our laddered entries for Bitcoin in the $2,900 area is that they thought that we only had buys at like $1,000, that we were only going to buy Bitcoin if it went to 1,000, not realizing that we had multiple staggered entries, and then from there, if it didn't hit, we don't care because we're now in a position. We took a position, we stay with that position, and we stick with our strategy. So here we are on the 15 minute. We're going to make one more push, it looks like, to try to see if it will do it. Yeah, you know, guys, I think we're going to hit that 2080 mark. We're probably going to close out my positions all in a 5% profit. Again, depending on what type of balance you're trading with. Do not do this if you're like, oh, I've only got $1,000. I want to try swing trading like this. Don't do it. You will get eaten out in fees because when you're learning, you won't know what to do properly. You'll hit market sell, or you won't be patient, and you'll FOMO, and you'll end up probably losing more money in fees than you make in any successes you make. So please, this is for people that have larger volume trading accounts, and this is not advice. Do not do any of this. Shit, I can't. I wonder how many times I've fucking said that. There's very few people in their lifetime that'll ever say, this is not trading advice, this is not financial advice. But I've almost said it as many times as Mr. Beast said PewDiePie, I'm sure. If at this rate, I've said this is not trading advice hundreds of thousands of times. Holy shit, look at that yellow candle. Right back down to 2046. Boom, right back down to the bottom of the super guppy. Just like that. Okay, I'll take a few of your guys' questions. Hopefully I can help answer some of your thoughts about what this type of idea is. So you can all see my trading screens. See, wait, what? No. What? Everyone can see my screen right now? If you guys can, please let me know that you can see my screen. I'm not sure. Maybe my my screen share froze here. Yes. Okay. I apologize. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that when we do this every Sunday, I have a second computer open so that way you guys are always only seeing this screen. Okay. I really apologize. And now that we know what will solve the problem, I'm going to solve the problem with the secondary computer. I've got a little MacBook Air that's been sitting in the corner of my house for like a year and a half, and I've never even opened it. So I think there's time to open it now and use it as my second little desktop for while we're doing this. Okay, so on the 1 minute here, again, the downside is we are we weren't able to get out of that 2060 area. 1, 2, 3, 4 times we've tried now, almost 5, 6 if you count the original wave up here. That's not, it doesn't make me feel super amped about the next moves that are coming, especially with Bitcoin being kind of on a precipice of change. We see our MACD is pointing downwards. We're actually in a our stochastic is actually saying this is a good buy, and it will probably represent us another 1 or 2 more buy opportunities, although I'm not going to do that. Let's make sure I don't show you anything tricky again. Okay, so we're getting close to, we're at the 1 hour and 57 minute mark. We're all in profit for every part of our trade. Currently at around 2% profit from the most recent part of that trade. Again, this is looking beautiful. You know, this trading live with you guys has gone a hell of a lot smoother than I hoped. I was really concerned that it was just going to stomp me out in a stop loss like first try, because that happens. Sometimes I've woke up, I look for 4 or 5%, I get stomped out 2% in like 20 minutes. I'm like, well, that was fun. Time to go to the beach. So I'm glad that didn't happen. I'm glad that our trend recognition is going a little smoother than the bad days, because bad days always happen. Yeah, the next little spike up we get, I'm just going to close out. And I already have those cells set. So let's take a look of some of your guys' thoughts and questions. Yes, good idea. HDMI and another computer will fix it. I just think I'm going to open another computer. That way I can trade from another computer and everything too. I can't believe I left the screen share closed for so long. Anyways, I think you guys get the point here. We did that extra hour. It seems like we've lost another 40 people, so I'm gonna basically just close this trade out here. It's all in profit right now, anyways. Not a lot, but it just makes it easier for me because I want to walk away and go do something else. I'm currently at a 2% trade profit from when we entered 10 minutes ago, and the rest of my trade, most of which I actually entered at $19.99 this morning, right around here, is also at a 2.46% trade. So it's around a 2% trade for the day. I'm happy with that. It fits right in my range of like the 2 to 6% that I want. It's not the 20% that I think is potentially possible here still. And actually, you know what? If I just stay online with you guys for another few minutes, you can probably pull off a higher trade. So I'm going to put my cells at 2060, 2080, and I'm just going to basically close it out at that because I do think that we're going to hit those really quickly. So one more time, I'm going to jump in. I'm going to give you my silly face. I'm going to make sure that my cells are set at 2080. Nice. 2060. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I have having a short technical difficulty here. Okay. So yeah, I'm setting right now, what I'm currently doing in the other side of this screen where you can't see, I'm set my cell at 2060. Which I'm hoping triggers in the next minute here. And then I'm also setting one at 2080. And then that's it for the day. Both of those trades are set up, and they're basically in the walkaway positions. Let's see if it does it while we can be on stream live, and then I'll basically just answer a few more of your guys' questions. Okay, where are you living? Another computer will be safe. I live in the middle of the jungle, but I live behind a 30-foot tall guard tower that has multiple cameras, and we have an armed guard that we pay to live in that house. Fuck you, whoever wants to come this way. So I have no bars or windows on my house because of that. There's no one that's ever been robbed behind this gate in the last 25 years because they make it even close to the gate, and we've got someone that sees them. They actually live in like an elevated house where they can like put a guard tower metal door down into the top of their place, and they have like a turret. It's fucking crazy. Doesn't even make sense. I'm not who built that. I live with a few other people. This is basically a Jewish community that I live with. So there's a few other Jewish families. I'm not Jewish by blood. I'm Jewish technically by study. I've been studying what's known as the Kabbalah, where the Jewish mysticism gets a lot of their ideas from. It's also why they call the Illuminati the Cabal. It's the same type of study to some degree. Anyways, interesting to keep an eye on that. So I live in the middle of the jungle in Costa Rica on the southwest coast. So no bars, no nothing like that. I actually sleep outside all the time. Because we have really good security here in terms of you really don't want to fuck with anyone back here. It's generally in the jungle you don't want to fuck with farmers. It's not a smart way to do. Everyone around me is armed, so keep that in mind. If you're ever interested in living in the jungle, I don't mean like keep that in mind if you're planning to come visit me. I mean if you're ever interested in living in the middle of the jungle, please remember that most people are well armed. There's a militia basically back here. There's a small militia that lives back here. Super random. Anyways, guys, it's not looking super bullish for my entry into the 2060 area. And I don't want to keep everyone too long. I'm really grateful. Again, smash that thumbs up button if you like this content. I do hope that it was valuable to everyone. I'm going to do this every Sunday to repeatedly show my strategy, the emotions that take place, and those small gains that I look for just winning and stacking. You know, if you do 2% a day over the course of 10 days, that's 20%. It's great stuff, right? Anyways, are you living near those lovely Amazon ladies? Yeah, I do. I live. I think you mean the Bolivian girls that like to the twins that like to travel with me. No, they're off gallivanting the United States somewhere right now. So no, I'm currently situated by myself in the jungle. I'd probably have a much bigger smile on my face if both of them were here, which does sometimes happen. It does sometimes happen. I do sometimes get that extra little bit of love going on. Okay, so here, again, look at this really stagnant trading pattern. This doesn't look great for me. Right now, I'm questioning just closing everything out at 2048 here at a slightly reduced profit range and calling it a day. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to close her out at a slightly reduced one. I'm going to cancel the other two highs I had. This is me. I'm 2.5% for the day is good. I'm stoked about that. I'm going to set it all in, go like this. Hit the sell button. Cool. Well, there we go. I've closed out my position for the day. I'm in a few $100s of profit. I'm pretty stoked about that. It's quite nice for me. As you can see, it looks like someone else is wicking that idea down as well. It'll be really interesting to watch. So guys, the best thing for you to do, I guess, would be to continue watching to see what happens with Engine if you're interested in learning. This is probably the best play is just to continue off what I was watching. Again, you're looking for this blue line to go above the red one and a potential for the 2089. Again, remember I made a position entry at 21 or 19.99 this morning, which itself even here represents almost a 2% gain, so that was good enough. And then this morning, twice we entered at 2020, which is only a 0.7% gain right now where it's sitting at the moment. But again, that covers my fees or whatever too on the trades that we had entered, so it's good enough for me. We've rolled up right into the 2-hour range. It's a lot of chatting, a lot of ranting for me. I'm very grateful for all of you that spent your Sunday morning with me, your most valuable asset, your time. Deeply grateful. If you want, join our private Telegram channel in the links below. If you're interested in signing up for the newsletter, it's $30 a month. It comes with a shit ton of stuff, but you get nothing. We promise nothing. We don't tell you anything. You don't even get information as far as we're concerned. Now, if you're smart enough to know what that means and you still want to sign up, power to you. And please, if you're like, oh, I can't afford, don't spend money on anything when you need to be buying your children diapers or you don't know where you're going to get your next meal. If you're only trading with a few $100s or even a few thousand, please ignore most of the shit I say. Most of the shit I say is geared towards people that are managing a diversified portfolio between things like assets in gold or crypto or property or the S&P 500. So a lot of what I'm saying is geared towards people that already have a financial portfolio. So for those of you that don't have that yet, please use this more of a learning curve to try to pay attention to what others who are managing their wealth looks like, sounds like, feels like, and for me at this particular point, tastes like. This is Tia with the Arcane Bear. So grateful for all your guys' support. That was a lot of fun. We actually could have pulled off almost a 5% win there, which would have been huge from our initial entry. We didn't, obviously, because the point of this was actually to be more informational and educational. And I'm going to make sure that I have another computer open. Again, still, I think this trade has the potential to go another 10 to 20%. But today, that was the 3 hours I wanted, basically invested into what I wanted. And I'm walking away with a profitable trade. And that's all I want to do. I'm not worried that it didn't go to 10%. It just needs to go close. And then I walk away and then everybody's stoked. Anyways, this is Tia with the Arcane Bear. Again, thank you guys all for joining us. I will make sure the next Sunday when we do this, we have a secondary computer so I don't accidentally show you my ridiculous screen. And that way I'm making sure you're always only seeing the trade screen instead of my silly face, just because I'm trying to hide our accounts. Anyways, it's Tia with the Arcane Bear. Thank you guys so much. I had a great time this morning. I really love these Sunday chats. I love them go live, even though it's at a reduced frame rate. And to the Bear family, thank you guys so much for being supportive individuals in the Arcane Bear community. Because if it weren't for all you, there's no way I could do any of this. You guys help so many other individuals by being open-minded and going through your learning process. I cannot thank you enough for making the Arcane Bear community what it is. See you guys next time.